This tutorial is going to go over how to move your radial color schemes onto a new file and how to make that file look as good as it possibly can. So after we've got them all saved in your H drive, you're going to File, New, name this Radial Color Schemes. You're going to change your size to tabloid, and you can turn that piece of paper tall or wide, up to you. Click OK. We use File Place to bring those files in. And what I suggest you do with this little dialog box, just go ahead and hit OK. What I suggest you do is bring it in and immediately go to the Type tool, click once to get your type action, and type in whatever that color scheme was so you don't forget. If you go to the black arrow, you can move around your type. Holding down Shift, you can scale it up and down. Same with your design. You can hold down Shift, scale it up and down. Don't worry about how it looks right now. Just bring in the rest of your files. Hit OK. Now a couple of shortcuts here. Instead of retyping every single time, if I click on the first thing I've typed and I change the font to get to something that I like, what I can do is once I like how that looks, I don't have to change every single time. Or I don't have to set the settings every single time. I can hold down Alt, I get my double arrow, click and drag, and now I have the same font and the same size. Wrong word, so if you double click and highlight, then you can type in what that color scheme is. So everything's going to match. One of our goals for this next project is unity. So you're bringing in files, sizing it down. You get some guidelines that will help you keep things the same. Alt, drag, double click. Now, you would have 3 more than I have, but just for sake of time, I'm going to show you some shortcuts. If you drag over all 3 of these designs, so they're all selected, remember, black arrow, drag to select. We get some options up here that allow us to align. So you can align by center, so they just snapped to a center alignment. And you can align by distance spacing. So from here to here, it'll equally space your designs. Same with the text. You can drag over all 3, go to the Align button, set them so they're vertically aligned. And then what I would do, since they're already vertically aligned, is to use your arrow keys a lot, and then you can line things up that way. You could also align top to bottom of these 2 pieces. So you could use your alignment tools and align center horizontally, or center vertically, sorry, and move those as a group if that helps you. So use some alignment and use some of the guides to make things equal. If you'd like to add a color background, we'll use the rectangle tool. We're going to drag from corner to corner. Don't worry about placing it perfectly on the paper. It can overlap. Now this big black box looks scary, but it's just a black box over top of our designs. So we're going to have to right click and arrange and send to back. And when we do that, it looks like we lost our text, but it's because the back box is black. So I'm going to change the color of that. I can use my color schemes over here, but what I think would be smarter would be to pick from colors that are already in our design. So I'm going to use my eyedropper tool. So a couple new tools I'm showing you here. Eyedropper tool, I can kind of click around until I feel I've found a color that is going to work for everything in my design. If you find that it really just does not look unified, feel free to change one of your color versions to a color that you think would work better. If you want to add more boxes, just to add a little bit more style or a little bit more unity or balance, you can do that. So I'm going to make a white box for my labels. But again, my box is on top of my labels. So I'm going to need to bring these to the front. As a grouping, you can hold down Shift, click on each one you want to bring to the front, right click, arrange, bring to front. And then I can move my box where I want it. Now, if you start to get lots and lots of layers and it gets confusing and it gets really frustrating, you have, mine is gone, let's make it come up. You have a icon over here that looks like this, these 2 diamonds on top. This is your layer palette, kind of like in Photoshop, but in Illustrator everything goes into one layer. There's your options triangle. You can see where everything is here. So I can drag these layers around much like I did in Photoshop if I want to move things front to back. So if you're getting confused with right-click arranging, there's an option for you. So when you're done, you should have all 6 color schemes correct labels. You should put in some sort of background color or boxes or frames. Choose colors that create a unified design as a whole. We're going to save that eventually and put it in your portfolio, but since I want to check those before you do that, you can just hold out on that until we get the chance to check. So for today, you would file, save as, make sure it's saved in your color scheme folder as your Radial Color Schemes as an Illustrator file, and hit save.